Welcome back, race fans, to the RaceNuts podcast, episode 33. A bit of a short one this week after coming back from a bit of a holiday that we have taken post Grand Prix
A
um,
hiatus.
hiatus. So,
Yeah.
no news this week. We're going to keep it short and sweet with a bit of a. We're going to start with a bit of a review over some stuff that got missed last episode due to a technical issue. Discuss the last two Grand Prix. We got return of our segment Stars of the Past. A bit of a preview of Taupō and some silly season news. But before that, mate, what's been happening with you?
A lot, mate. In the terms of motorsport, a bit. I've managed to get myself to the Rob Road revival. Saw some. It has just left me what they are. Mud trailer. Oh my god, mud trials, mud trial cars putting on a demo there. Actually, on that note as well, it has just reminded me. I will send you a photo once I get to going through them. One of the car, you know how all these cars are like got the axle very exposed at the front.
Yeah.
One of them was like going down between these two trees. A tree like got caught on the inside of the tire and like just fucking ripped the whole, like the axle went 90 degrees to the body of the car. It was actually quite impressive. And yeah, a lot of sleep deprivation I've been having. So, but I'm here. I'm fucking red cheeked and ready to go. I've got beer caps everywhere. But yes, I'm here. So yeah, that's what's been happening with me, mate. What about yourself?
Just busy. Trying to catch Grand Prix. I'm currently working in Perth, which brought me the great joy of trying to get places in time zones early enough to watch Grand Prix. Because for the God forbid, the one time we have a Grand Prix in our time zone, I am 3 hours behind Melbourne, which puts a 3 o'clock race right smack bang on lunchtime.
Which wouldn't be bad if you weren't working.
Wouldn't be bad if I wasn't working and wasn't working by travelling in and out of reception with no guarantee of where I was going was going to have reception.
Yeah.
So, absolute mission. But we'll get into Grand Prix later. I think let's move on to a few. What's that? 4 weeks ago now, the Australian Grand Prix. We did talk about this previously, but unfortunately, the app we used to record decided that it just wanted to fit out and cut off half our episode.
Shit, a brick.
Bricks were shit. So let's cast our mind back to Melbourne. The Melbourne 4. The Melbourne Super Sprint, I think they call it.
The MSS Security 400 Super Sprint or something like that.
Oh, thanks for reminding me that MSS
note,
Security.
Yeah, on that note, fuck you, MSS Security.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe MSS Security also does the footy.
Oh,
and they've been just prime, haven't they, over last week?
Forget my can of Coke. Let's get a fucking firearm in that bitch, you know?
Not one.
But two. Two separate people as well. Allegedly. But
did you see the lineup for the Friday night game?
I think I did. I think like I saw a photo of like it was about into quarter time, into the first quarter of the game, and like people were in the park.
Like, it was like a lineup around the MCG at the first siren for the first quarter.
Gosh, Jesus.
I don't know. We'll continue our long mated battle with security another time. But a bit of a look back onto Melbourne. I've got the RaceNuts result sheet in front of me here. Hey. Race 4 won by Brock Feeney. Race 5 won by first time winner Cameron Hill. Race 6 won by Will Brown. And then race 7 abandoned due to wet weather conditions. Does anything really stick out to you for this weekend, Dash?
For the Melbourne weekend, I would say it would have to be the disappointment from not seeing them run around on the race 4, because they do have wet tyres and stuff. And the rain really wasn't at its worst during that time. It was at its worst, maybe 15 to 20 minutes before they got on track, like it proper pissed down, but Yeah, and I understand they have a schedule to keep to and everything, but it was that would be the one thing that stands out to me and disappoints me. But the one thing that I've really liked getting around was Cameron Hill and Nick Percat having such a strong outing once again. The MSR, as I think you said, just saying about Albert Park MSR, they just fuck.
They do, and a big bounce back from them considering how horrid the Sydney weekend went for them. They were
The
bottom. They were
opening
bottom of
round.
I refuse to call it that. They were bottom of the rankings coming into Melbourne.
Yeah.
But on the back of the rain that affected race 7. Now I heard this. Now I'm going to claim I heard this firsthand. I think I've heard I've heard it from some other places, but mainly off the Apex Hunters United podcast run by Elliot Barber and Scott Pye. That even though there was a gap in the rain, the big push to cancel the race was actually from FOM, Formula One management,
Yeah.
as they had concerns that that the supercars would have a lot of offs and risk of damaging the grass and the walls, leading to further delays, which makes sense. They're big, heavy cars, and they
Yeah.
do seem to push the wall a fair bit when they want to. So,
Jackson Evans, Adelaide.
I was gonna say Goddard's incident at Adelaide Super 2 last year, where he flipped an entire fucking wall, because it wasn't pinned in, but still. But that was the rumor of that. They were worried about the aesthetics. They were worried that all the grass riding and stuff would get well and truly ripped up by supercars, as well as they wouldn't have time to respray any walls, which somewhat makes sense. Some might say, "Oh, the grass is a bit pedantic," and I agree with that. It's grass.
Yeah.
I get your straight up sponsor name there, but that's
That's
part of the course.
Yeah, I mean, if you're signing that document to say, "Yeah, put us on the grass," you kind of accept
sort
that
of
a car
asking for it.
will drive over it more than likely.
Yeah, but the wall stuff, I somewhat understand because that's also the bread and butter of motorsports.
Yeah.
Not having time to respray walls, like what we saw with the Porsche
Ah,
railroad crash
yeah.
on Thursday, where that got repaired.
Yeah.
So that was a rumor that Scott Pye had heard from. He was in the paddock, being a Red Bull co-driver.
Yep.
But apparently that was a big thing. Another rumor that I also heard was there was a bit of a push from certain teams as the cars had to be loaded to be to be sent to New Zealand on the Tuesday, I believe it was, or Tuesday or the Wednesday.
Yeah, just very tight deadlines.
Yeah, I think the rumor is some of the teams were pushing for they wouldn't mind not having to rebuild a car or not mind starting the rebuild early. Now, a lot of teams have denied this. Supercars themselves have denied that this was not the case. But that being said, they were literally rewrapping the JJR cars Sunday afternoon on their way before they were going to get sent down to be loaded.
Ah, yeah.
Because DJR will be running a jet livery for once.
Oh, okay.
Apparently the story behind this is a bit of a preview towards Taupō, so I don't want to skip anything, but I also don't want to forget this. Apparently, Shell V Power isn't a brand in New Zealand.
Isn't a brand.
Isn't a brand in New Zealand. No, Shell is, but not V Power. So
okay.
And the company, the part of Shell that's in Australia is particularly V Power, and they don't own anything in New Zealand, so they don't see any point in paying to be there.
Yeah.
Where Jet Careers that will be on the car for Taupō is, I believe, one of the CEO or the owner of Jet Careers is actually also a co-owner in Dick Johnson Racing, so that's where the connection is there, I believe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, fair enough.
But
that's a good little bit of nugget from your noggin, mate.
Yeah. Bit of looking for the sheets here, a couple stands here. Obviously, both Red Bull boys, very good here. Will Brown on the podium for all three races that run. Feeney got a first, fourth, and second. Percat also very consistent here, second and third in race 5 and 6. Now, Ryan Wood's flying a little bit under the radar here with a 5th, a 22nd, and a 6th. Now, 22nd is obviously due to an incident between him and LeBrock, that's right, which gave him a drive-through, and obviously being a sprint race with no pit stops, that was particularly painful, but did come out with the fastest lap.
They must have. The WAU garage must have had that thing wired up at fucking peach.
Well, a bit of fresh air wouldn't have hurt. Fresh air, fresh tyres. I don't know.
Do
Not
your
fresh
own
tyres.
thing. Drive
Stop.
angry.
Cool the car off and get some fresh air. Now, he won't get the extra 15 points for this because he's 22nd. Where the extra 5 points, the extra 5 points only count for 15th and above. In terms of the other fastest lap, Cam Waters made it 4 for 4 in race 4 while claiming fastest lap in 6th, and Will Brown snatched it in race 6.
Yep.
I'm just kind of having a look here.
Cam Waters, he fell off a bit here as well. Let's just not forget that because I almost did.
I think really the whole Tickford team did. Like, he made a great recovery in race 4, recovering back to 6th.
Yeah.
He would hold 6th again in the following race and 9th in the final race.
Yeah, he could move up, but like it wasn't the form they had in Sydney, and that's the only thing we can compare to at this stage of the season.
If you want consistency, look no further than Macaulay Jones, 14th, and 14th across all 3 races.
I reckon
Corny, of course. Yeah, Corny did not start the first race after a heavy crash in practice.
Yep.
I'm just having a little bit of a flake through here. Let's see who we got a little bit further down. Murray had a good race, claiming his first top 10 finish in race 5. Bit of a shock in race 4. A DNF in race 7. I believe did he have contact with someone? I remember him retiring, but I can't remember exactly.
Cooper Murray.
No, yeah, I think he got turned out by Mostert.
Maybe. It sounds about right.
Good. A bit of a good start here from Cameron Waters. Sorry,
Aaron Cameron.
No, it's not Aaron Cameron. There's too many fucking Camerons.
There's a bit going on, mate.
A 22nd and 19th and a 21st. Now they're not real great performances looking at them. But comparing them to Courtney of a did not start 17th and a 15th, so they're not too far behind Courtney, being his first race, and not last.
I also thrown into the car 3 days before the event. Pressure, just want to get the car fucking back straight, which I think he did have I want to say he had a bump, at least hit a wall or something, I think.
No,
it's itching my brain.
Had an off. I think he had it off in the last race. He went off into the sand and had to get recovered.
Yeah. No, that sounds right. Yeah. But yeah, I think his whole aim of the weekend was keep this car straight, bring it home, keep the sponsors happy. This is a big event, and just prove that you are a safe set of hands. And that's what he did.
Now, here's a contrast. So, Di Pasquale, it's obviously his first year in this team with Team 18. So, his opening round at Sydney was an 8th and 2 7ths. He's rolled into Melbourne with a 7th and 8th and an 8th, which is not just great consistency, and they're all top 10 results, but it's even more interesting to put him up against his teammate, who across the entire season so far has had a 15th, a 22nd, and then moving into Melbourne, a 17th, a 23rd, and an 18th. Now,
who's the 23rd in with again? Reynolds?
Team 18.
Yeah.
Team 18. Yeah, Reynolds, yeah. So, I will give him a bit of a pass for race 5, because that was the race where he got turned by, I want to say it was Payne or Stanaway. He got turned by someone at turn 1 on the opening lap.
Yeah, I can't remember.
When a lap down was recovered.
Yeah, I can't quite remember. I'm not going to try.
Yeah, but still, those are taken away. Even if you took away that race 5 result, that is still a very poor consistency.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Steck is up here too.
Yeah,
Steck is quite consistent. He raced with a 4th, a 7th, and a 5th throughout the weekend.
Yeah, that's good shit.
Yeah, believe yeah. Yes, I think that's what we'll call for the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Do we want to move on to the absolute bits going on in China?
So, China had their Grand Prix 2 weeks after Albert Park, and so we got there. Everyone was excited, fucking. Once again, I think a lot of us Eastern Seaboard operators of Australia were just excited for a decent time to race again. So it was a sprint round this time around. So we had everyone looking good. The McLarens, the Ferrari were thereabouts. Bit of Red Bull showing colour, not too much though. And yeah, so we started with, in terms of the sprint race, we had Lewis Hamilton get pole position, and I remember watching that lap, and it was a hell of a lap for the car it was in. Like, I don't know, he just fucking went nuts, Lewis Hamilton. Like, it was so good to watch. I think it's earmarked as one of the better qualifying laps to pinch pole. It was only by in the thousandths of the second or hundredths. It was nothing.
Lewis was
Yeah.
Lewis was particularly strong in the first and second sector.
Yeah.
Oscar would line up beside him. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, it was Oscar because he got Oscar.
Yeah.
Now a big play of this race was the heavy tyre graining on the front right. Where it seemed to be, that's where Oscar played his cards good with, after being taken by Verstappen, by really rolling off the throttle, giving space to Verstappen, allowing Verstappen to cook his tyres even more than what they already were behind Lewis, which eventually made it an easy overtake for Oscar in the dying stages of the sprint race. And that Lewis had real no competition from the start. He would take the win from Oscar Piastri and Max Verstappen. Now, Jack Doohan had a crash on the last lap with Gabriel Bortoleto.
Yep, I believe that was knocking each other around in the final hairpin, like the final hairpin, on exit.
Yeah, Doohan just went for it real late minute. Bortoleto didn't see him and just didn't open the steering wheel as much as he could have. Now, worrying him, we'll touch this in a minute. Liam Lawson last.
Yeah. Oh god.
So that covers that sprint race. Now moving on to the Grand Prix. Not much here to say outside of Oscar pole and Oscar win. Lights the flag. Lando was chasing him down in the dying stages, but then about 15 laps from the end, he started to have
a long failure. Pedal. Yeah, his pedal was like, his brakes were still working, but his pedal just kept going longer and longer and longer, which would be fucking terrifying.
Apparently, on the last lap, he was starting to have to lift off at 500 meters out and start braking at 300.
Jesus,
that's how bad the issue was for him. Jack Doohan another shocker, just middle of no man's land. I think he hit someone else again on the hairpin.
Yeah.
Or he had a spin out, something like that. And Lawson qualified last, finished last by a lot. They actually did a pit lane start for him to change the car to make it more stable, and I hope that he might be able to recover something. But that was that for Lawson, and that's quite literally that for that, because was it 3 days later we found out that Lawson has been dropped by Red Bull Racing.
Yeah, we're bringing in Yuki Tsunoda for the Japanese Grand Prix, which was a great marketing move by all means, but not great for anyone's confidence.
Not great for Liam's confidence. Probably not great for Yuki's career long term, but
yeah, but fuck it, we're here.
Yeah, but that's Oscar's third Grand Prix win.
Yeah,
and his first pole position too. So that's a no one add to the history books for Oscar. I think we'll roll. It's a bit of a short one to. Actually, no. So we won't roll into Japan because we got Stars of the Past.
Yeah, we will. Return. Which I did half forget that we were going to punch that in there. So
you also half forgot to do it for 6 months.
Yeah. So probably episode 12 at a wild guess. I got pinned with Stars of the Past, and then I got real fucking lazy about it because I got given Michael Caruso and it is a fat fucking history on this bloke. It's just insane. So he first what would arguably now be called considered late. He actually started go-karting at the age of 12, and he then went on to be extremely successful throughout that time. He cleaned up a Queensland Junior Kart Championship. This is all in '97, all in the same year. A Victorian Junior Kart Championship, Australian Junior Intercontinental A title, a North American Junior Intercontinental A title. That was just in '97, and then in '98 he had a Queensland Intercontinental A title, and in 2000 a Victorian Formula A kart title. So the bloke can drive a fucking go-kart, bloody well. And so he did that, and after his karting, he found Formula Ford in 2001. There's no real great success, I believe, in that. I'll just double check myself before. Nah. So just self-funded. He hadn't joined. They were racing under the banner of Caruso Racing. So just a family operation at that point. No, not joining a bigger team or anything like that. And so he did that. He had a spin, and then he went to Australian Formula 3 in 2002 and 2003. In 2002, he had finished up 5th, and in 2003, he completed that by backing himself up with a championship win. From there, he received offers to join the FIA Formula 3000 in Europe, so that would now be called F2 or F3. But he declined those offers and went for the Holden Young Lions team, which was a development team that they raced in what is now known as Super 2, basically. He had a poor start to the season and just called it a fucking day on the whole Super 2 arrangement. So, yeah. I mean, if he knows what he wanted to do, he knew. And from there, I did accidentally skip over. In 2002, he had a Victorian Road Racing Championship. So, like, his early career is fucking just full of winning championships. After that, he just went on to joining... sorry, I've lost myself here. He went into V8s with a little bit of success. Like 5th, 4th. His best out championship year 2007. He was 2nd. And then after that, he's kind of a bit backmarkery. He's part of Gary Rogers Motorsport. Moving around a lot to Nissan Motorsport as well. It just kind of dials out a lot with where he is, but jumping between Nissan and Gary Rogers. But to where he is now, he has gone to, I believe he was with Team 18 with Mark Winterbottom and for the Enduros, but now that is no longer. So I'm not sure where he's currently placed, or if he's even got a confirmed drive for Enduros this year.
I don't believe he has a confirmed drive at this point. I think it's... Well, actually, it's not... Well, it's definitely not with Team 18, because Team 18 is running Lee Holdsworth with Davey Reynolds and Harry Jones with Anton De Pasquale. So it's definitely not with Team 18. I don't know if he's fully retired. I guess we'll find out when the seats fill up.
Yeah, so, at the moment, I think it's just plodding about. I couldn't find too much, up to current up to date stuff on that
No,
front.
there's nothing.
But yeah.
I would have seen it.
So yeah, but I believe now, do I get to give you a stars of the
Yeah,
past? Dan?
you get to give me a pick now.
All right. Do you want to research it, or do you want me to research it? Because I forgot how we do this a little bit.
We typically just pull out a random year and
Right.
then get you a random race and get you to pick a
Right.
position between 1 and 15.
Let's go 2002 Supercars. Come on, Supercars. Oh, see calendar. I'll just see what I'm working with here because I'm thinking, were they racing in oh fuck, what's the place called? Jesus Christ, Ash.
Sorry, bud.
Phillip Island. There we go. Were we racing Phillip Island? Yes, we were. Beautiful. All right. So Dan, I would like to go 2002 Phillip Island.
Wow.
Position 13.
Okay, who's that? Don't you have in front of you, or do I have to pull that?
I do have it somewhere here. I just got to figure. I've never been on this website before, and so it's just
And
I'll
just
me.
Phillip Island
2002
Supercars. What's the one race? Between race 1 or 2.
Let's go race 1.
And what position was it again?
14.
14. I'll go with the primary driver because this was a co-driver race.
Yeah.
Larry Perkins.
Alright, fuck it. Let's go. Let's go
You
with
picked
Larry.
an actual fucking mint one. Thank you, mate.
You're welcome, mate. You're so welcome. You're gonna do all that. You could do that shit right now off your fucking top of your head, you nerd. I know you could. Alright. Now, I believe we're rolling into the Japanese Grand Prix review. Short one. Max Verstappen just did his thing. And
Yep.
there's your whole review.
So, I just got caught up looking at something. Yeah, so Verstappen, well, before we move to the Grand Prix, do we want to talk about probably one of the biggest things that happened this weekend, besides Yuki's send to the gods, which, of course, was Jack Doohan sending himself to the gods.
Via turn 1 at 330 k's an hour.
At 50G impact. Apparently, he'd done it in the simulator, and for that, you could do it in the simulator flat with the DRS open, because when you don't touch the brakes, the DRS don't close. If you're flat, you have to manually close the DRS with the button.
Okay.
But so don't know if he planned to do it with the DRS open or just forgot that was a fact of it, that you need to manually close the DRS. So that was a 50G shunt, which it didn't help that was his 4th lap of practice because he sat out practice 1 for a junior.
Yeah.
So.
And there were instantly mixed reports too about whether that was mechanical or driver error, and like everything in the first 24 hours was saying mechanical, and then after that it was driver.
Yeah, because it showed he didn't make an attempt to close it.
Yeah.
And it was still showing on the dash DRS open, or the lights that indicated the DRS was open.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it, you gotta try something. At a high cost, yes, but you gotta try.
High cost to Alpine, yes. And a high cost of the absolute pressure he's under, considering Colapinto actually tested for Alpine last weekend as well.
Yeah.
In Europe. But let's move on a little bit more to the Grand Prix. As you just said, Max Verstappen started on pole. It was a lights to flag win, just absolute dominance.
Yeah.
A really strong pole lap. If you haven't watched it, go watch it on YouTube. It just seemed like Max had total confidence in the car all the way around.
Yeah.
Despite the McLaren obviously being a lot faster of a car. Orlando P2, Oscar P3. Oscar did want to be swapped, but that choice was denied.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit of just trying to keep both drivers happy and understand that probably Oscar had caught Lando by using up his battery pack, and now he wasn't going to have any battery left.
Yeah.
I think that's really all that. There was not much to say about the Grand Prix this week outside of both Yuki and Liam Lawson had a shocker. Isaac Hadjar points 8th for
Yep.
Isaac Hadjar.
Going good, Isaac. I like him.
And I think should we move into a quick look ahead at Taupō International Circuit?
Yeah, I think we should. So I have no information up of this, but so I'm gonna go off just pure fucking vibes. First of all, we're gonna be seeing a lot of Andre Heimgartner and Richie Stanaway, Jackson Evans, Ryan Wood, and I'm missing one that I can't think of.
I think that's it.
You sure? Just the four?
Pretty sure, yeah. 5
Just the four of us.
Andre Heimgartner, Ryan Wood, Jackson Evans, Richie Stanaway.
There has to be one more, because I'm certain there is.
No, fuck it, get me now, hound.
But we're going to have some seriously mad promos of these. I think there's 5, because I know I've seen a poster where it's like there's one in the middle and then like 2 go off either side. I'm sure of it. I just can't, it's not coming to me. Maybe Macaulay Jones, who knows?
No, Macaulay Jones. I can tell you it's definitely not.
Yeah. We're going to have to break down the whole list.
And let me... Okay, well...
No pressure, mate.
Richie, Evans, Ryan Wood, Heimgartner. No, that's it.
That's it? Oh, okay.
That's it.
So, yeah, we're going to see a lot about them. I mean, all the power to them. It is their home track. Well,
yeah. Well,
kind of their home track.
Yeah, what's in New Zealand, so home enough.
Yeah, home enough.
I've got a lot of information already sitting here about Taupō.
Yeah, hit me with it.
Taupō International Motor Circuit, or previously known as Bruce McLaren Motor Park.
Yeah.
It's currently owned by Tony Quinn, who owns a few circuits. He also owns Hampton Downs, Highlands in New Zealand, as well as Queensland Raceway or Ipswich Raceway. It's a 1.3 kilometre circuit. It was upgraded to that length in 2006.
Yep.
No, sorry, not 1.3. Sorry, 3.5 kilometre circuit. The 1.3 was its previous iteration. So yeah, it's I don't have any. It was originally open in 1959, but as I said, it was upgraded to its current spec in 2006. Obviously, that hosts a fair bit of New Zealand motorsports. Mostly, obviously, it hosts the Toyota Formula Series, or the summer series they run over there. And that's really all about it. It holds an FIA Grade 3 circuit. It has 14 corners. This last year we saw it rain a lot. This is where we saw the big accident on the start line between Richie Stanaway. Was it Richie Stanaway or James Golding? No, sorry, James Golding and Cameron Waters. This is where we saw Andre Heimgartner win the first race in the rain, and then the second race was dominated between the inter-team battle between Will Brown and Brock Feeney.
Yeah. And
there's not much to say really overall, because this is the second time we've raced at this venue.
Yeah, they do set up like grandstands and shit for here. So because I have seen videos of this place doesn't have it does have permanent grandstands, but I think but they definitely jam a lot in. And just looking at the website here as well, they actually have camping at the horse racing circuit, which is within walking distance, 350 meters from your camps, like the campgrounds, to the motorsport facilities. So that's really fucking cool. To just
apparently they're doing another track to town
Ah,
Yeah, apparently the New Zealand police are quite chill. I think it was David Reynolds was saying that he got 150 or something on the highway coming in the car, and
fucking
there was a
hell.
couple of certain unnamed Mustang drivers who were actually racing each other to see who could get formed up before actually having to slow down to come into town.
Oh,
But
fuck.
most importantly, this obviously runs on New Zealand time, which New Zealand is ahead of Melbourne by
By
2 hours.
yeah, by a couple of hours. Yep.
Yeah, which works out great for me because I have a function. My girlfriend's family has a function on Saturday night,
Oh, yeah, look at
which
you.
means the second race of the weekend, race what's that, 7, 8, no, 8, race 9 should end about 3 o'clock, maybe 3:30. So for the love of God, boys, no safety cars, no bullshit, no red flags, just fucking lights the flag on Saturday afternoon. Give me some fucking
Do it.
time.
Do it for you.
Do it for me.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure they'll
But,
they'll hear this and they'll do it.
yeah.
Oh,
Thank God for the time zone. Otherwise, I'd be single. Moving on to some silly season before we roll out here. Driver moves that are confirmed. Aaron Cameron is going to stay with Blanchard Racing Team for the remainder of the season.
Yep.
It was initially only signed for
Albert Park.
signed for Albert Park as a fill-in. Now, in the rumours,
Yeah.
and speculations, all very fresh. There's
You've left it
a lot of
blank.
rumours that two particular teammates within Supercars do not like each other quite a fair bit, to the point that apparently one has bought a house on the Gold Coast and is planning to break their contract.
So this could be like 3 teams.
Could be, but the rumor for some, this doesn't make sense. People saying like, oh, he's bought a house. Scott Pye himself was going, oh, he's bought a house on the Gold Coast, blah blah blah.
Who's
But
he?
people
Who are we allegedly? Who's the?
apparently it's one of the two Red Bull boys. Apparently two of the Triple Eight boys that they've had enough of each other. But it doesn't make sense about the Gold Coast thing. Oh, actually, no, it does because they're in Brisbane, not Gold Coast. So
Yeah.
could be. I don't think it'll be Will. I don't see Will leaving that team. So is it Brock? Could Brock be going to Premier?
Yeah, but Brock is so strong there. Like that's like it was developed into that team.
Here's on top of the rumor mill though is apparently GM saying that they obviously GM went on a big hen hunt
Yeah.
post Triple Eight leaving. They landed one of the chief Triple Eight engineers, JJ.
Yeah.
And then Triple Eight did some pretty quick contract work to secure everyone else down before they had the opportunity. Apparently, they had even GM had gone as far as to contact both Team 18 drivers and offer them whatever they required to break the contract. And they told the team they would say no, they're not interested. They're staying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so GM last week said they had landed a big name to head the new homologation team.
Yeah.
Which by the sounds of it is going to be Premier. It's a pretty tight between Premier and Team 18, but by the sounds of it is going to be Premier. Now, first rumor said, oh, it must be Chaz.
Yeah.
Chaz is the only one that's had a contract for next year, and he might be willing to wiggle.
Yeah.
But now that this is all happening, and so-and-so's bought a house on, someone's allegedly bought a house on Gold Coast where Team 18, where Premier is based.
Yeah.
Starting to think, maybe Brock is on the move. Because I don't
That would
see
be
Chaz.
a fucking shake up.
Yeah. Because then he asked the question, who's going to replace... If one of the Red Bull guys move, who's going to replace them?
Yeah.
And obviously we know Richie's probably not going to get no contract. So that makes it easy. Who's going? It's Richie. It's going to be Golding and insert driver here.
Yeah. Yep.
But then you can also say the same if it is Chaz, which I don't see Chaz leaving WAU, but especially on the verge of Toyota,
Yeah.
which will have a strong car because Supercars will want this to work well. Who replaces Chaz?
No one.
These are two big holes in the sport that are about to be filled, about to just open up out of nowhere.
Aaron Love comes back, wins the championship.
the ultimate chess move no one saw.
Yeah.
We were playing checkers while Aaron Love was playing chess.
Yeah. Oh shit.
It was nothing but a ruse to ruin his contract. Anyway, so we'll keep an eye on what the fuck is going on there. Bit of enduro car driver news. Cameron McLeod is going to co-drive this year with Cameron Hill from Pt2 Racing. Shaking off into the championship standings, starting with Supercars. We go into Taupō with Will Brown leading.
Taupō. Has
Taupō?
to be Taupō.
Taupō? No, it's Taupō.
We'll wait to hear it over the broadcast.
Taupō.
Neil Crumpton's never disappointed us.
No, so that time we pulled out the big guns. Will Brown now takes the championship lead off Cam Waters by 6 points. He leads with 467 from Cameron Waters 460. Brocken third with 418. In the team's championship, Triple Eight leads with 885 points. Tickford second on 720 with WA Walkinshaw and Andretti United third on 541. In Formula 1 land, Lando Norris's lead has been cut down to 1 point. He's on 62 points from Verstappen 61. Piastri moves from 4th to 3rd with 49 points. Liam Lawson, Jack Doohan, 18th and 19th on the goose egg. Nothing for them. McLaren still leads the team's title with 111 points, followed by Mercedes on 75. And all 61 of Max Verstappen's points lead Red Bull to third. And I think that's it, mate. That's all we've got.
All right, beautiful. Well, thanks for listening to episode 33 of the RaceNuts podcast, and we will catch you shortly. Have a good one.
See you next time, mate.